Passed up again? Have you ever wondered why, despite having exceptional performance, getting along with all of your coworkers, having all of the degrees ever existed, staying late, smiling when you're bloated, agreeing when you really don't agree so
Mm-mm.
that you don't look like the sourpuss in the situation, celebrating everybody else's promotions, and revving yourself up to do it all again, that smart women are still being passed up for promotions that they are easily qualified for. Today, we're going to unpack a little bit about that and how we can address it. Let's start with some eye opening statistics that you probably see already every day. For every 100 men being promoted into management, only 87 women are being promoted into those same positions. It's not due to lack of talent or lack of ambition. So, what's really going on here? One significant factor that leads to these numbers is the allocation of non promotable tasks. Now, we know we women are really great at organizing things, but disproportionately, we find ourselves handling responsibilities like organizing team lunches or team events or mentoring new employees or taking notes during meetings. All of these things are essential, but they rarely lead to any career advancement. These disproportionate assignments divert time and energy away from high impact projects and leading and having to deal with numbers and things like that, and are less likely to catch the attention of decision makers. Next is the confidence gap and the lack of self promotion. Confidence plays such a critical role in career progression. And studies have shown that women will not apply for a job unless they 100% meet the qualifications for that job, while men, on the other hand, will apply if they're only 60% qualified. It's no secret that women tend to be a little bit shyer at promoting themselves, is not wanting to seem as overbearing or not wanting to seem like they're not the team player or don't want to be labeled as the mean girl or the know it all, Cruella DeVille, whatever you name it. So we shy away from promoting ourselves in a healthy, assertive manner. Behaviorally, we're all different, right? You have some people that are naturally more direct and some that are naturally more reserved. I happen to be one of those people. So for those of us, when it comes to disc or on that reserved side, it is 20 times more harder to assert and promote yourself in a way that feels natural and not icky. But no matter what the scenario, women, we have got to be better at taking credit where credit is due. Notice I said taking credit, not giving credit. It's easy for us to promote and give credit and hooray, rah, rah, everybody else but ourselves. There's nothing wrong with taking credit for the input that you gave. How else is anybody else going to know what you're capable of and what you can do or who they can call on? So don't shy away from being honest about a job well done. Let's talk about bias because it's a very real thing. Performance and potential are two different metrics. Research from MIT Sloan indicates that gender differences in potential ratings can be almost half of the gender gap promotions. That means that some people will be rewarded, reviewed, given opportunities based on potential. And of course, we see that more with men. Nothing wrong with that, but we got to call a spade if we're going to deal with it. I myself, and I've spoken about this on a previous video about my experience about being a Black woman in the workplace, where a man was promoted twice based off of his potential, even though he didn't have the experience nor the education for the role. And he passed up about 6 or 7 other women to get there. And you can find this on Forbes.com. Even when women outperform their peers, they still receive a lower potential score, which obviously hinders their career advancement as well. There's this gross misconception that men have a greater potential for growth and advancement than women do. Why is that? While we're figuring that out in the meantime, it's not right. The next hindrance is the authority gap and microaggressions. The authority gap refers to the tendency to undervalue a woman's confidence and competence compared to a man's. And I've seen both male and female leaders do this. This manifests in the form of microaggressions, skepticism, interruptions, all things that will continue to erode our confidence, which some of us struggle with anyway. So it feels like a double edged sword. These experiences not only affect our day to day interactions and engagement, but it has long term impact where we are just trying to preserve our energy to fight to survive another day. So, are we doomed? What can we do about this? Let's start with organizations. Three things that organizations can do to make the process more equitable. For one, make sure you implement a transparent promotion criteria where we can clearly express, highlight, review, and give feedback on very specific things, no matter who the person is. Nothing ambiguous, and things that will root out favoritism. Provide mentorship and sponsorship programs across the board. Make sure there are opportunities if someone needs help in a certain area that it's available to them. Now, if they don't take it, that's up to them, but provide it so that they at least have the opportunity to grow and expand their capacity and get to the next level as outlined by the criteria that I just mentioned before. And lastly, recognize and redistribute non promotable tasks. Don't just dump the things that other people don't feel like doing on one person, on one role, because whoever's in that role is going to be doomed to not be able to show their stuff and show what they can do. So everybody needs a little bit of tasks that are promotable so that it doesn't just get pigeonholed to the bottom. Now, for my individual professionals, here are three things that you can do to close the gap and make sure that you are on the upwardly paved path of career progression and that you don't miss out on promotions. For one, we have got to advocate for ourselves. It is what it is, and highlight your achievements. But you can do it in a way that doesn't feel self aggrandizing or doesn't feel icky. So you can ask for opportunities to provide feedback, or when you're having one on ones with your boss or your leader, share the things that you've done and make it a partnership. Invite them into it. Of here's what I was thinking to make this process, this person, this project better. What are your thoughts? Or when it's review time, make sure that you have written down and quantified what you have done so that is unmistakable your contributions for the team and your growth projection, that it should not only be tracked by your team or your leadership, you should be tracking that yourself. Just as I have admonished organizations to provide mentorship, whether they do or not, you need to seek it for yourself. Do so within and outside of the organization. Get around those sages, people who have seen different cycles and different seasons to be able to give you some insight and things to prepare for. Or they can, give you some insight into things that you might not see or information you might not be privy to. But get some allies, get some mentorship so that it's someone you trust to be giving you feedback and it's not in this way that is off putting or that is punitive to your work, but it allows you to be proactive in being sharp, better, keen, ahead of things. And then the last thing that is going to seem like super obvious, but you got to pursue professional development opportunities. Whether the organization is providing it or not, you got to stay sharp. Lifelong learning should be one of the things in your toolkit for promotion. If your organization is not offering it, ask about it. Your management might be too busy to think about it, but usually there is a budget. So give them ideas of opportunities. That shows you being proactive, and it shows self advocacy, and it's an opportunity to give yourself and your team some growth opportunities. Outside of the organization, there are a million different things, a million different industry related organizations. There are so many things you can get your hands into to grow for yourself, which honestly, it could give you a bit of a competitor's advantage within your organization because you're getting training that is not being provided. So it's something that can make you stand out from everybody else. By taking these steps, we can work toward a more equitable workplace where talent and performance are really the true determinants of how people get promoted and progress through their career. Now, I've shared my challenges and experiences like this in the workplace, but I'd love to hear from you. Have you, as a woman, experienced being passed up or feeling different microaggressions in the workplace? Or as a man, have you witnessed this about colleagues and people you care about? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. I think this is an important conversation that we should keep going. And make sure you hit the bell to be notified every time I come out with a new video on leadership development, workplace insights, or how to be a rock star professional no matter what your industry is. Then stay tuned and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.